This is Module 3, Lesson 6. This time we're going to add fractions, but our sum or our answer when we add is going to be between 1 and 2, which means it's going to be greater than a whole. So first we're going to look at this problem of 1/3 plus 1/4. And when I look at this problem, I'm going to figure out, can I estimate it? And I believe that I can estimate it, and I have to figure out if my answer will be more than or less than 1 whole. So when I look at this first number of 1/3, I know that it's less than a half. So it's smaller than a half. And I know that 1/4 is smaller than a half. So when I have something that's smaller than a half and another one that's smaller than a half, I know that I won't even get to 1 whole. So I can stick with knowing that it will be less than a whole. Now when I look at this one, it's a little different. I have my half, but I know that this number of 3/4 is greater than a half. So if I have a half plus something that's greater than a half, it tells me that my answer is then going to be greater than 1 whole, because 1/2 plus 1/2 is a whole, but I have something greater than a half. Now we're going to try to solve. We're going to use our pictures, but we're going to look at what we were just talking about with estimation. And I know that 4/5 is greater than a half. And I know that I have 1/2. So I know my answer is going to be greater than 1 whole. So we're going to start with the pictures that we know how to draw. So we have our two fractions. And we're going to first do our verticals, just like yesterday. And then we're going to do our horizontals. And we're going to shade in just like we did yesterday. And there's 4/5 here. And then there's 1/2. And now we're going to switch back over to our pen. And we're going to write underneath that this was our 4/5 and this was our 1/2. Now I'm going to put in the lines of the opposite rectangle. And we're going to write our new fractions. We haven't changed anything from what we did yesterday. We're writing our equivalent fractions. And now we're writing our new problem up at the top. And we're adding it, and we end up with 13/10. Now we know because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, it's greater than 1, and it's an improper fraction. So since my answer is greater than 1 and I estimated that this would be greater than 1, that's a good sign. And then as we learned, we can turn an improper fraction into a mixed number. So we have 13 divided by 10, and it goes in 1 whole time, and there's 3 out of the 10 left over. So my answer is 1 3/10 in this case when I'm adding. I'm going to try to solve one more this way. So 2/3 and 3/5. And then we have our 3/5 over here. We're going to shade them in. We're going to fill in our opposite lines. We're going to write our new fractions. We're going to write our new number sentence. We end up with 19/15. So we have 19/15, and we want to turn these into a mixed number because it's an improper fraction. 15 can go into 19 one time. There's 4 left over out of the 15. And that is how we use our pictures to add fractions with unlike denominators when they're between 1 and 2.